What up, Flappy? I watched the Bronze series. Thanks for recommending it. Awesome. It sounds like you enjoyed it. Did you have like a background in watching F1 or motorsport, or was that like your first introduction to F1? Lamborghini Mercy. Yeah, you do. And we got a dev dad right off the rip. Damn, wakey wakey, we're here now. I'm about to go to war with Apple for you, dev dad. I saw the title of your stream while I was getting ready this morning. I'll fight him for you. What was the rejection reason? Sorry, I'm still getting organized and set up here, so bear with me, chat. Siren, I have not figured it out if you're talking about the Nix problem where the Lua and after directories aren't getting copied. I'm going to ask BG from the Alta 4 stream probably today for some help with that. What up, Nunes? Okay, so yesterday, I'm still peeking a little bit here. Test. All right, my audio levels are a little off here. All right, test. All right, looks like I'm done peeking. It's so weird, Siren, because like I can't figure out why things don't get copied. Once I get through some work here, we'll take a look. Thanks, DevDad. One thing I wanted to fix here was I don't think we need this advance. I think we can delete that, and let's run our tests. There's actually not a special keyboard mic. My only mic is a MacBook Pro. I use my MacBook Pro, which is like over here. Yeah, I'll show you here in a second, Noons. So chat, specifically what we're working through right now is some of the members of our Discord started a reading club or a book club. And our first book that we're working through is The Essentials of Compilation, which is there. And then it's free, so no worries for that, sharing that PDF. And in Essentials of Compilation, it basically walks you through building a compiler in Racket. I didn't want to write Racket, so I'm doing it in OCaml. Some people are doing it in Scala. I think Nunes might be doing it in C. So we got people doing it in a whole bunch of different languages. But the book, rather than having you write a Lexer and parser before the compiler, it just basically gives you the AST. I've never built Lexers, parsers, or compilers before, so I'm also working on learning how to write Lexers and parsers. And for that, I'm using Thorsten Ball's book, Writing Interpreters in Go, I think is the title. Writing an Interpreter in Go. It's very good. So we're kind of marrying the two together. I swear, you redeem posture checks on me, Ethan, when I have actually decent posture every time. My keyboard is, here's the information. It doesn't look super special or anything. Like, nothing super special. Gandhi, probably. Highly recommend despite your code quality. I feel that. Let me fix my lag in stream real quick, chat. I have to do this weird thing where I have to kill my screen capture and switch screens and hide my cursor and then undo it all. And then suddenly the lag's gone. I don't understand why. It's the weirdest thing. But yeah, so right now we already wrote a small compiler for this language in chapter 1 called rint. The entire language is super, super tiny. Basically, it just contains a S expression that starts with program as a keyword, takes an empty list, and then another expression. And that expression can be an integer, a keyword called read, which waits for user input to parse a decimal. We can negate an expression or we can add two expressions. That's the entire language in chapter 1. It's very tiny, very simple. What that ends up looking like is right here. So this right here is the entire grammar of the language. Students, here's the code for building out the abstract syntax tree. So we have a interpreter written, we have a partial evaluator written, we've got a bunch of tests. So what a program actually ends up looking like in rint, which is our tiny little language, is this right here. So I am working on writing a Lexer and a parser that can basically parse this into an abstract syntax tree. That way we have from text to evaluation. So that's what we're working on this morning. Thank you for the follows, by the way, Nico and Fixit. Appreciate y'all. So right now we're working on the Lexer, and yesterday we wrote this function. We were working on skipping white space. So let's say we have a string that gets fed into our Lexer that looks like this, where we have a bunch of empty white space and then a character. This is our negate token, or not negate. This is our add token, excuse me. So we make a Lexer. We say our expected value is going to be our add variant, which is a token. And then we take our Lexer, we skip all of the white space, then we take the next token, we take the second value of a tuple, because next token, the way this function works, is it returns a Lexer and a optional token in a tuple. So this is, for anyone that doesn't know what a tuple is, it's like basically like a bag or a fixed length list. So this is what it looks like. So when we say second, we take this value. See you, Fixit. Appreciate you. Yeah, so this test should be passing. That looked like it got stuck. That's suspicious, isn't it, chat? Let's do a doing clean. Doing build, doing run test. Are we getting stuck in an infinite loop? So the thing we've removed was that we took an advance out here. Okay, so that breaks things. Why would that happen? Oh, because we have to advance it. So why did that happen? I'm trying to reason through this here. So when we make a new Lexer, right? Let's look at our constructor function. So if the string length is greater than 0, let's put the true statement first. So if we have like some input, we set our position to equal to 0, and we set our character. Let me change this music quick. Okay. So when we make a new Lexer, we take our string input. As long as it is greater than 0 in length, we get the first character and set it to our character. Okay? And then oh, we do need advance. We do need advance. Right. Because it's a recursive function that calls out. Yeah, never mind. That makes sense. Okay, that actually makes sense. And I think we could actually do option dot map. Or let's think about this for a second. We need a compose function. So let's say no, we don't. No, we don't. But we could. In fact, we don't need a third, so we can drop H. We can do that. And then we can say, we can come in here and do an option map. And that's going to take our option, which is going to be Lexer dot character, and our function will be, oh, that's gonna, right. Never mind. We don't want to do that. We'll just leave it like this. It's super readable. I find match statements very readable. In fact, I like using match statements instead of if else, just because I think it makes it easy to skim and scan. I think sometimes the formatting gets a little weird with OCaml, especially with if statements, that I just like using matches, which is something that Gleam does that I kind of like. Man, my allergies are so bad this time of year. right, so the next thing we got to figure out how to do is how to parse identifiers or Lex identifiers. Sorry, Chad, I'm just checking my email quick. Okay, let's get back to it. What up, Dave? Sorry for the flashbang chat, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. So I think I wrote the lookup. Yeah, keyword of string is our lookup identifier. Okay. Let's start with the identifiers and keywords. What our Lexer needs to do is reorganize whether the current character is a letter, and if so, it needs to read the rest of the identifier / keyword until it encounters a non-letter character. Having read that identifier keyword, we then need to find out if it is an identifier or keyword so we can use the correct token type. So one thing that's interesting about this book, Writing an Interpreter in Go, uses a programming language called Monkey language. We are writing a parser for our tiny little R-int language, so some of the rules are going to be a little bit different and probably simpler, to be honest, at least for chapter 1. See ya, Delta. Thank you. Have a good one. Appreciate you hanging out. So in their next token implementation, they are, let's see here. If it's a letter, they read the next identifier. And read identifier, what do you do? Takes the current position and does a loop while, I assume this is a while loop basically in Go. While Lexer.character is a letter, we're going to read char. And that's going to advance the Lexer. And it's just going to go. And then we have this original position copied, and then it looks like it slices the string from start to end. Sorry, y'all. I need to go blow my nose. My allergies are so bad. I will be right back. Okay. How's the audio levels too, chat? Looks like my mic... I'm not peaking too bad. Is the music and my voice good? And the keyboard good? So our variables in our int. Well, let's start with trying to parse the keywords, right? Rather than worrying about our variables. So our let's put the Lexer in first position. We have program and read. So yeah. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. So let's write a function. We probably move these predicates up somewhere in there. So it'll be read identifier, right? And this is going to take our Lexer, and let's just throw that in. And I want to disable Copilot for all this. I want to learn this on my own. Let's just throw in a comment and a fail with to do. So in the book, my keyboard switches are glorious pandas. You're quite welcome. Also, for anyone that is still here from the raid, you can spend 1,000 points or bytes or whatever I call them to try and win a copy of my keyboard. Well, that's Cyprian. So let's see in the book in next token when they hit the character. Okay, so we need to update our next token function, right? So when our character is a letter, we're going to read this will take our Lexer. So now this should be, yeah, this should end up being like val read so then we need a way of building up our list, right? So we have this advanced while, which we can have our Lexer move, but we can't collect. So how do we do this? We need to collect our Lexer tokens as we move along. Do I do this down here in our tests? I do this in our test by, I wrote this little lex function right here, which folds over the input, which isn't a great way to do it. What does advanced return us? We get a Lexer back. So let's say let recursive loop, and we'll take our Lexer, and we'll take our tokens, and let's just say loop Lexer tokens in, and then we will call loop Lexer. So now we have a recursive, nice little recursive function here. And we want to say match Lexer. Well, in fact, we can start this with Lexer dot the current character, right? And we can do, well, we'll come back to that in a second. We can do, let's see here. This can be option dot fold. Is that what we want? Or maybe it's value. No, we do want fold. Folds it. So init will be false. And then our function will be, we want to say, we get a accumulator, which we ignore if I remember correctly. And then we get an A. We get a character, and then we can say is letter char. And then this can be, if it's true, we're going to call our loop again with our Lexer, and then tokens, or that's not even tokens at that point. This is characters. So we'll say chars, and then we'll say Lexer option.get. Don't love that. But let's keep rocking with this for a second. And this will be chars. Do that. And then false. We return our Lexer. We return our Lexer and our chars. something like this. Thank you for the follow, Jens. Super appreciate you hanging out. All right, unbound value option.get. Right, so we can do value exception here. This expression should return. Oh, we forgot to pass in the actual, right, Lexer dot char. I don't like using value exception. So that's one way to loop over our So let's rewrite this to be a little bit cleaner rather than using option.fold and using functions that can raise exceptions. We would also need to reverse our tokens here. So let's make sure we have that. Okay, so let's say let recursive loop. We're gonna get a Lexer for sure. And we're gonna have our chars. And here, rather than matching on a Boolean, let's just match on Lexer.char. And that will give us a option. So let's say we have, let's handle the base case, none. If we have none, we want to return out, I guess maybe we want to return out the identifier, huh? Rather than the Lexer. Well, we'll return out the Lexer for sure. We need that. Right, we need to advance the Lexer too. We never advanced it in here. That's okay. We need to do identifier string. Okay. So we should be able to do like string. Can we do string of char? Of list? Yeah, of list chars. I love this song. And we'll wrap this in an identifier. We have to open, let open token in, and then this will become identifier. We can wrap this in that constructor. Great. Let's comment out this blah. And we can say sum, and we'll get a character. And we can say advance our Lexer, right? We need to move the Lexer forward, and we take our character and we add it to our chars list. And then we pass this. This will actually, we don't need that. We do need this though. We need you like that. And then we loop, right? Something like this in, and then we say loop. We actually need to reverse this, right? So we'll do chars, and that will go into, we can say list.rev. Whoops. We have to reverse the list because when we're lists in OCaml are linked lists, and as we're recursively going over or looping through our input, we're setting the most recent thing we've seen as the head of the linked list rather than putting on the tail. So when we get to the end, we need to reverse it to get it in the order we read. Let's see here. We can delete and word there. Okay, great. And then we loop with our Lexer, and our chars will be we almost need a second match, right? What do we do if the current character is none? Like, what do we do in this case here, right? I don't know. We would do, in this case, right? What do we do in the case that read identifier gets? I mean, we could enforce that a buffer T instead of a list. So I would just like add bytes and stuff. Right now we're just going through Thorsten's book and doing like simple naive implementations. We can come up and we're basically going to take this Lexer and fix it up. Well, actually no. Let's actually try to do that. That sounds cool. So if we do what Alice is saying here, rather than chars being a list, we say that this will be a buffer dot turns a fresh buffer. The end parameter is the initial size of the internal storage medium that holds the buffer contents. So would the should I create a buffer that is the current position in the text minus the length of the input? Right? Because like worst case, the rest of the worst case, we just iterate through the rest of the thing and we don't have to do any more allocations. I guess that's best case if we allocate that much memory. So let's do that. We'll say buffer.create, and the size of our buffer will be Lexer.input. We need the length. So string.length of our Lexer input minus Lexer.position. You can technically even just store the positions of the string. Oh, yeah. I think later in the book, potentially, we get into doing stuff like that in the early chapters. He specifically calls out that approach in here and is just keeping it simple up front. It's horrible to debug. So it looks like I'm missing a paren. Is that it? What's wrong here? Oh, right, because we're inferring up here. So then here, Let's annotate this so we get some type errors. This will be a buffer.t. And then here we just say, can I do like buffer.toString? That's interesting. God, the freaking returns a copy of the current contents of the buffer. And then here, why did that? Oh, it might help if we pass it our actual buffer, right? And then here we will say buffer.addChar. There's no shot this returns a unit. That's so annoying. Why can't I use const? Don't do this to me. Oh, can I do that? That's actually clever. Ha! I didn't know I could do that in line like that. I guess that makes sense, right? Because we're just in a scope there. Fun.const is a really silly function in a strict language. Why is that? I found it useful. I found it useful for using it in chaining operations. Maybe that's just a symptom of the silliness you're talking about. I haven't really taken the time to think through that. So what is this upset about? We take a string, and we get back an int. Oh, right. We need this, and then something like that. Or no. We need that, and then we need that, right? There we go. Morning, trash puppy. I mean, the whole point is that you ignore the second argument, but if you use fun.const, that argument is still being evaluated. So how would when you say it's still being evaluated, it means we still have to like invoke the curried function with the second argument. Or I guess like in a good use case for something like fun.const, how would you get around evaluating B? I guess we should create our buffer up here. Dang. I mean, we could actually like we could seed our buffer with this character, right? And advance the Lexer. I mean, you'll usually use it in a context where you use const or something else depending on some condition. What up, Priv? Everything. Rest in peace. Listen, once it's official, maybe we'll do a little bit more. Well, I mean, it's basically official, but once I start. I'm working for Cell, by the way. Is that the order of operations there? We take a buffer, a char, we get a unit, and then we return our buffer. Let's go write a I don't know, a better buffer interface. Let's do a shared. And then in here, let's copy our Dune file. I don't love the interface on buffer right now, so we're gonna go make it nicer to work with. Whoa, 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 what the fuck just happened? Ha! I see what happened. That is a oil buffer. We'll name this shared base and format. Sure, that's fine. We don't need that unqualified. And then here we'll say shared.ml and buffer.ml. And let's say we have this type T. Let's get a buffer.mli too, .mli. And let's split those. Man, it has been so long since I listened to this song. Thank you for the follow, Shady Milkman. This album got me through some pretty rough times, chat. This album is so good. Trevor Hall is so good. Oh yeah, I don't know if Alice was around when I told that story. I went too hard in the paint. So yeah, I had interviewed at Mercury, and which is as I know both of you know, but for anyone else in chat, they're a Haskell shop, and I got to the third or fourth round, and it's basically an assignment where you get 2 hours to work on your own on a problem, and then you get back on a call for the last hour and walk through your solution. I ended up just using TypeScript because I can move the fastest with TypeScript. And I solved the problem. I met the requirements. I had like one failing edge case at the end, but it was literally, the fix was literally a flip-flopped equality operator, and I called that out to the interviewer. So like, I basically solved the problem effectively, and yeah, so I got like two blobs of JSON to work with for this problem, and I used Zod, which is in TypeScript. Zod is a runtime type validator. So I was using Zod to parse and type the JSON coming in, and that was really all the types I did. Like I didn't go hard in the paint here. I spent maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops setting up Zod and parsing everything, and then my feedback in my rejection was that I spent too much time considering and thinking about types at a Haskell shop. And like I didn't even I could have went so much harder. Yeah, like I could have like really modeled it out to like not let any specific like invariants happen or anything like that, but like I just naively parsed it into like the simplest structure you could. But yeah, my feedback, and what's crazy is we had an hour to talk about my solution, and at no point did I get any sort of critical feedback or have any sort of mention or ask about like my types or anything. It was really weird. I don't know what I could have used any language, but I just used TypeScript because that's like what I'm fastest at. And yeah, I don't know. It was really weird. And like I followed up and I was like, I wish my interviewer would have like called that out in the hour that we had to talk about it, because like I think it would have led to a really good nuanced discussion. Like I like modeling my problems and solutions at the type level before I start solving problems, because that really helps guide the implementation, and it helps me, like if you start at the type level, I found like a lot of times it helps really guide your implementation. And I was like, I wish my interviewer would have given me that feedback in the hour we had to talk about the solution, because I think it would have led to a really good discussion with nuance, and it could have really, at least gave me a chance to defend that practice, which is weird that I would even have to defend that to a group of people writing Haskell. But yeah, I don't know. I have some friends that work at Mercury, so, and I asked the one friend about my solution, and she was basically like, yeah, that looks good. Hey Priv, could you delete that tweet for now until I start? Once I start, you can tweet and do all that. Thanks, homie. Appreciate you. Once I actually start, the memes can flow. But what's crazy, yeah, like I don't know. Like I don't want to talk too much about the actual problem, because I don't want to I don't know. I want to give them respect for their interview process, but it had to do with a bunch of like string parsing and string comparisons, and I ended up using Levenstein distance to like compare strings and stuff, and like I ended up at like a pretty good solution that worked well. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what I'm talking about was for a Haskell job. Leo, I just saw your tweet about automating the bun post with bun. That would be actually funny. Oh, that's sweet, Priv. I would have fun writing Haskell, I think. But, it is what it is. So we're in our MLI. We have a type T. And then, all right, let's bring up our Lexer over here. What do we feel like listening to? Listen to some Skizzy Mars. Oh yeah, we didn't handle this case, right? Like, we shouldn't even be able to get into this state. I didn't finish implementing this, right? What happens if I have an empty buffer? Maybe we do just ignore this and just pass the buffer in and let it handle it, right? What up, Roasted? Oh, right. You're totally right, because it's mutable. Nice. Da, da, da. Mm-hmm. We're gonna call that chars. We'll give this a better name here in a second. I thought that when you said you were gonna do it in C. Okay, cool. There we go. So now we should always get back a token T. Great. Now let's go. I guess in this case, we don't even need to make a nicer interface. This is actually pretty nice here. So let's get rid of this. We'll probably have this at some point, so we'll just hold on to it. You should do, yeah, ooh, Zig would be a fun one. I would love to see a bunch of this in Zig. Zig is like that. I'm like so torn between spending some time learning Zig or spending some time learning Rust. Like, I feel like I could get really productive with Rust pretty quickly just because of like how many ideas translate from OCaml. But then I see like the stuff that Mitchell Hashimoto is doing with Zig, and it just is really cool. No, I have a dentist appointment today. I don't want to do. Dune. Oh, why did we do T? It's W. All right, actually, we'll just delete this. Right. Right, so maybe rather than returning a token here, we say we do something like something like that. Do something like that. Hey, Cerberus. Thank you for the raid. Super appreciate it. How was your stream? What were you working on? Raiders, we are working on writing a Lexer and parser for a tiny language called rint, which is from the book Essentials of Compilation. And we are basing our parser and Lexer off of the book Writing an Interpreter in Go. So we're kind of like taking materials from 2 different books and playing with Lexers, parsers, and compilers. That would be mine. Company Twitch, doing Laravel, and some other random stuff. Awesome. Well, let me make sure. Nice, Marsk. You should take the best bits of Laravel and start building equivalents in the Riot OCaml ecosystem, because that's what we need. We wanna get Riot and the tooling and libraries around it to have the same kind of developer experience as Laravel. You should. It'd be fun. All right. So this looks like we should be able to parse. Oh, we still need to try to map our identifier to we have like that lookup, right? what is it? 2 keyword of string. Yeah. Okay, so our return of our loop, rather than being this, is going to want to be something more like token dot keyword of string. And maybe it'd be better to do identifier of string rather than keyword. And then this becomes identifier. We are using token, sir. Oh, maybe we're not actually. Had to press follow here as well. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't used Laravel, but just like looking through code and their docs and stuff, it looks like a really good ecosystem. And I know Leo thinks very highly of their tooling and has said a couple times that like that's the experience he's going for. Okay, so theoretically, we should be able to write a test. I've been working in Laravel since 2012. It's awesome. I think that's a good testament, right, to a stack that if you can be writing in it for over a decade and still love it and like it a lot, like, and feel really productive with it, that's money. All right, my Illuminate plugin is dog water. I'm gonna write a to-do. We're gonna take a quick little tangent here. Try to replace Illuminate with mini, is it highlight? I don't know. Once we write this test, we'll go try to do that. This is going to be read identifier. So we should be able to take this. The first test will be it reads program to the program token. So we'll just say program. We do make input. And this is going to be program. And then our actual will be, it's going to be read identifier takes a Lexer gets passed into there, right? And then we can take the second. And this should be a token. Yeah. So let's see if that worked correctly. Huzzah! Look at that. We parsed a string identifier into one of our keywords. You'd love to see it. Great. It reads an unknown string into an identifier token. Boom. Look at that go, chat. First try. I mean, PHP gets a ton of hate, but has been paying my bills for 10 plus years, 4 years of those being self-employed. Are you self-employed now, Marsk? Are you doing like freelancing and consulting? I think modern PHP is really, really nice, actually. What's up?
Hey, it's probably gonna be around noon that they're here.
Okay, when I get back from the dentist, I will be cleaning till they get here.
Okay.
Yeah, don't stress about it.
I'm stressed about
I
it.
know you're already stressed about it. It's fine.
It's not all gonna be done.
Yeah, well, it'll be fine.
I don't think so.
Well, then you can have them clean upstairs first, and I will work down here. Don't worry about it. Working mostly for medical law fields. So I'm not doing PhD for marketing stuff. Nice. So you're building like actual apps. I'm curious how your experience was jumping from actual FFs. How your experience was jumping from like a W-2 company to, I guess my real question is like, how was your experience finding clients? I've done a bit of consulting and freelancing before, and most of my clients have come from word of mouth and just like my existing network. Did you just build up a big enough network over your professional career that you had enough potential clientele through your existing network to support yourself, or have you like intentionally gone out and made a real effort to find new clients? All right, let's go fix this mini highlight thing before I forget. Where are my plugins at? Why do I always forget where this happens? Right, it's in here. Right, okay, so let's go to lazy. Let's do an update first. We get a new version of Copilot. Some updates to Mason and NoneLS. Update to Wilder. We got lucky and mostly word of mouth. It's a long story, but basically me and a friend were working for a company where the CEO wanted out. He had 7 to 8 app clients and like 40 WordPress clients, and asked if we could buy the app clients, the actual non-marketing stuff, and he agreed. Awesome. That's a really nice step into that world. Nice. That's awesome. Every time I see an update for Tree Sitter, I just hope that I see Reason ML, and every time it just never happens. And we do pen tests and stuff, which helps also. Nice, that's awesome. You guys should hire Trash Puppy. Pretty sure she's searching for a job. Reason ML doesn't have a maintained and up-to-date tree sitter grammar and parser, which makes it kind of annoying to work with in Emacs and Vim. I don't know what the VS Code extension uses, but it's not tree sitter. Did that not update? Whatever. All right, so we want to go look at did I lose my tab? There we go. I want to go, what is it, mini illuminate? Is that what it is? Mini highlight? I don't know, let's go to mini nvim. I've been wanting to replace my illuminate plugin for a long time because it just doesn't work super great and annoys me more often than I find it useful. Modules. Cursor word, this is the one. We did a little bit yesterday, Lubega. But yeah, this is kind of the first I've been playing around with it. Right now we're admittedly updating my NeoVim, but we'll be right back to it here in a second. So let's say we want to install mini cursor word. .lua, save that, and then we go in here and we return a table. I always forget the syntax. Thank you for the follow, appreciate you. Okay, so the first entry of the table is going to be the GitHub repo, so it's going to be folks with lazy. Yeah, we should probably take stable. So let's take that and paste that in. And we can say, what is the syntax? I forget how to configure lazy. I do this every time. When true, the plugin will only be loaded when needed. Lazy. Okay. And there should be like a condition to lazy load it. Right? Is it just condition? There's like events it can listen to, right? Lazy load on file type, that's what we want. Or not really file type, but this should be like, where are my other ones that I have like legit lazy stuff in here? Then buff enter. What are my NeoVim? Let's do search help events. Is there just a table? Thank you thank you for the Prime subscription, Milkman, and also Wagyu. Thank you for the follow. Super appreciate you guys. Buff delete, buff enter. Is there a cursor move? Cursor hold. Cursor moved. Yeah. We can wait to load mini cursor word until, is it command? Is that what it was? All right, so event. Event will be cursor moves. Boom. So now we should be able to say lazy and check. Should come up that we need to, wait, did this not update? I use NeoVim. Shady. This is acting up here. It's acting a fool. My update button. There we go. Jesus, that took a minute. So it should have installed mini cursor word. This is the problem. This is a problem with my Nix setup. I'll try sync. Yeah, so it's still looking at my user directory rather than my Nix directory. We can try something real quick. My switches are glorious pandas. What's up? If you wanted me to do something before I leave, what would be the most helpful thing to you?
Dishes.
Dishes? Okay, I will do the dishes before I leave. And I'll scrape up the stove too.
That stove is so gross.
I'll take care of it. I'll do that before I leave. I'll wrap up like 5-10 minutes early and do that.
Okay. Everybody out. Winnie, out.
Let's see, what is my password? I don't think this is going to make a difference. Oh, it does. What the Okay. Well, that worked. We have mini cursor word. So let's go. Thank you for the follow, Slight. Let's go remove Vim Illuminate and see. I need to see what my other configuration options are for this. I'm not sure if it exposes an API or not. So the only configuration is that. That's kind of nice. Because I don't use my other, I have configurations for Illuminate, but I don't use them at all. So we added mini curse word here. Let me see what, let's see here, Illuminate. Let's see if lazy can like prevent loading in certain file types. We can probably also use condition. That's probably what we want. Well, we can delete this. Let's get rid of illuminate. And let's go back in and we have some keybinds around illuminate that we can probably get rid of. Illuminate, yeah, we can get rid of that now. We get warnings. I never use these, so getting rid of those doesn't hurt. Just found you on YouTube and love the explanations about your NeoVim setup. No time this morning to hang out, but I'll be back. Awesome. Thank you so much, Slight. I appreciate the nice words about my video. Mad Flash, I missed your Mad Flash and Lubega, Simon. I'm not sure if you're both still around, but we are working on building a Lexer and Parser for a tiny programming language called rint, which is the first language you build in a book called Essentials of Compilation, which here's a free copy of the book, which our Discord is reading through in our book club. So yeah, the book basically just hands you the abstract syntax tree and gives you utilities in Racket for parsing and lexing the programs. I'm doing all this. I'm translating the book from OCaml to, or writing the solutions or the compilers in OCaml. And I've never written Lexers or Parsers before, so I also wanted to write those. What up, GlitchBite? Why can I not? I always forget your name starts with 0x. I tried to implement your Lualine plus Harpoon plugin in my config. My system doesn't support the Harpoon Unicode text you have. Oh no. My font is patched. Well, actually, Ghosty patches nerd fonts under the covers anyways, but if you patch your font with nerd fonts and your terminal emulator can display Unicode, it should work. You can use nerd fonts patcher and just run your font through this tool. It's pretty easy. But yeah, this is what they're talking about, chat, is this little Lua line thing right here where it's like a little harpoon, a dash, and a 2. That basically tells me in my project, I currently have 2 harpooned files. And because this is a dash, that means the current file I'm in is not harpooned. So if I opened up my harpoon menu, you can see we have 2 harpoon files. If I go to one of those, we can see, this is the first harpoon file. So I know, it's just a nice little helpful indicator for me. Leo, a harpoon file is, I don't use tabs or anything, and I don't think you do either. So you might like the plugin. So you can basically harpoon a file, which marks it in a list within harpoon. And then you can use, actually, I might as well just show you my keybinds here. Key maps. Yeah, here we go. So you can harpoon a file, it adds it to this list, and then you can use other keybinds to navigate to those files. So if I press leader 1, I go to the first harpoon file. If I press leader 2, I go to the second harpoon file. If I press leader HO, it opens my harpoon list so I can see all the files I have there. HA adds a new one to the list. HC clears, HR removes the current file from the list. So it's just an easy way to jump around buffers in a project. So I use that in combination with Telescope, and like it makes navigating super easy. Because like a lot of times when I'm using so like what I find is I end up getting like over time a pretty big list of files I've been in, when really like the core files I'm working on are like 2 or 3, right? Like maybe I have an implementation, an interface, and like a test file. That's like my core workflow. And I just want to be able to quickly get back and forth between those. That's when I use Harpoon. I regularly just start over. But you should check out Harpoon. It's the lovely plugin. In fact, I need to upgrade to version 2. Prime just rewrote it. All right, let's get out of this Nick stuff and back to our Lexer. In fact, I want to like figure out if this actually worked. Let's see here, tmux and vim. I just need to get into like a script where I can check. Actually, our key maps is probably a good one, right? Yeah, so that to me looks like it's working. I assume that's, well, maybe we have to go in here and do a sync, have it remove, illuminate. Oh, we have to rebuild, right. God damn it, Nix. Yeah. In fact, if anyone's a TypeScript dev, I also have a pretty useful NeoVim plugin. I actually need to break this out into a second plugin, but this runs the TypeScript compiler asynchronously, so it doesn't lock up your editor and you can keep moving. TS Server does not do project-wide diagnostics very well, so I built this plugin to basically type check your entire project in another thread and then report those back to a quick fix list. And I also, with the help of some people in chat, ported Matt Pocock's Better TypeScript errors, which is or Pretty TypeScript errors, which is a really popular VS Code extension. We ported that to Lua. So not only do you get to run the TypeScript compiler asynchronously, you get more friendly TypeScript messages. Oh yeah, Panini. Yeah, this has been my kind of. This was one of the first things I ever wrote for NeoVim once I got started. I just like got so annoyed, both in VS Code and NeoVim, at TS Server not being able to give me, when I made a type change, like diagnostics across my whole project. It'll give you diagnostics in the files and buffers you've already opened. So that's what led me to doing this. My plan is to break out the Pretty TS errors into its own plugin. I just haven't got around to doing that. God damn, Dylan Mulroy, you're lead. Not quite. I just hack on things with a lot of people's help. Is that not working? Did get add all not work? I hate all of you. Yeah, Meta's my ghostwriter. He's actually in my headphones telling me what to type as we go here. So that's how this works. All right, so I tried to read illuminate. Oh God. So where is it looking for illuminate? Got it. Lost my keybinds. Let's go ahead and clean. Wow. Trash, you spelled my name wrong. How dare you? All right, did it uninstall that? I am borking everything right now. Dylan, dynamic languages, sus. Don't you ever, ever put my name in a list with the word dynamic. So I don't fully understand how this syncs with my normal environment. Because if I go look at config now, I might, if there's any Nix people here, Meta, you're better at Nix now than me. I might need some help. Like this. So these directories aren't like staying up to sync. See, this is gonna break everything. So this points at this. Yeah, so I'm having a tough time accurately figuring out what the exact problem is, Meta. So in my kickstart stuff, let me go ahead and just get to a working state here. Let me do a what is it? Nix garbage. How do I garbage collect? Collect garbage. Let me just make sure that's not part of the problem. Man, and they say node modules is bad. Thanks for hanging out, Mars. Super appreciate you. Have a good day slinging some Laravel. Okay, so here, if we do a build, Darwin build, we get all that, right? That ends up creating in my .config. If we go up and into nvim, right, and we do an ls-la, we have this init lua, which points at the store, right? And then we have this after directory and this lua directory, which probably should have nothing in them now because I deleted. Oh, didn't I delete that? List lua plugins. Okay, yeah, they're empty. I would expect Vim to break. Yeah. So now it's breaking because like it's not copying after and Lua into my config directory, if that makes sense. Like if we, God damn it. If we go and look over here, I now need to copy /config nvim after to there .config /nvim / okay, yes. And then we need to do the same thing with Lua. Yeah. So if we come over here now, we should have after and Lua. Should be able to do a little tree. Yeah, that looks good. So now if I do Vim, I actually don't know why that broke. Oh, I see why. These need to go in Lua. Do that. Okay. Delete those, go in there, paste those in there. All right, now if we right quit and we go back in, everything should be happy. Yeah, so all right, Meta, this is where Meta and anyone that knows Nix, this is where I need help. So I have a custom Vim plugin, which is my entire my entire Vim configuration. So we say user Vim plugin packages.vimutils.build Vim plugin. We give it a name user and it points at this config directory. That config directory is literally this right here, nvim, and then this is a copy. I want basically all of this to go to my user directory. Right now, the only thing that's happening is it's putting this init.lua file there, which is symlinked to the store. But in my store, I know for a fact some of my stuff is actually getting there. So if we go to our store, was it nix/store? And we do like an ls-la and grep for user. Oh, that was probably pretty bad. ls-la and let's grep for Vim. Vim plugin user directory. Plugin user. Which one of these is it? Vim plugin. So if I change directory into like here, right? Let's just say these are all made on December 31st. Why would these be made on December 31st? So let's just change directory into this one, right? Oh, they're all 1969. So maybe that's just a weird thing. God damn it, that's not what I wanted. So in here, here's all my stuff, right? Like, everything is in here that I want. And I just don't understand. I don't understand. So my entire config directory is making it into the Nix store. But then I don't get, the only thing that gets put into my config directory is the symlinked init.lua. Right? So let's do this top one as, it's not working, no. Like if I make changes to my config nvim, if I make changes in here in the after or lua directories, it doesn't percolate to my .config, if that makes sense. I think. Because like if I deleted everything in this directory and I did a Darwin system build, the only thing that would show up in here would be this symlinked init.lua, but not my after or lua. And this, I wonder if I change directory to that. Yeah, even in this directory, it's not copying everything. Do I need to do like star? Like, is there a way? Yeah, exactly, meta. Source Nix language file path.
Hey. Okay, so the only things I need you to do, I have everything else done.
Dishes.
Dishes, stove, your side of the bathroom.
Okay.
I'm taking care of the corner.
The what?
Corner. Where you hoard things.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
I'll also water your plants today.
Thanks. Maybe a good place to look would be at how another Nix packages and Vim. What would be a good one to look at? Like a simple. I bet we could have Vim plugin mini. There we go. Okay. Sure. Let's look at this and let's look at the source at what they're doing. Great. They just point it at GitHub. I guess that makes sense. So BG does something similar to this with his config. Where do I have his stuff? So if we go and look at his, I want to get to your GitHub profile, sir. Right here is where he turns his I'd be pretty happy, but we'll find out if that works. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to check if that worked. None of those files are symlinked, which might be okay. So if I do move nvim to nvim old, and then we go back to kickstart, and we do another dw Darwin build, and then we go back to config, we should have an nvim directory. We do. And now we just have this init.lua. It didn't copy anything else over. Let's see if it at least, maybe it copied into here, right? Like perfect world, that would be great if please have my folders. Frick. Now this is gonna be busted. Yep. All right, let's go back to reading his plugin. One thing we can try just as like debugging Whoops, that's not what we wanted. Test. And we can see where that ends up. Okay, so let's see if that ended up in our user directory, which I'm sure it did. There's test. So I think maybe we need to go look at how build Vim plugin works under the covers. Where is Vim utils? Isn't that where it comes from? Does anyone know where the source for Vim utils is? Vim utils. Is this it? This repository has been archived. Great. Thank you for the follow, Your Eyes. I don't know where. Is this it? Inherit from Vim utils. Where does Vim utils come from? I just want to know. Packages game Vim. It's not what I want. Vim.nix. I thought we already looked at that. Programs.nix. Is that what we just opened? Programs.nix. So it's not in here. Application editors, Vim utils. That looks like it could be it. Okay. Where is the build plugin? This has to have, oh God, I hate the UI. Build plugin. Build Vim plugin. /build vim plugin. Okay, this is looking promising. So this is, I guess this is probably a function that gets a default value, maybe. I actually can't tell what's happening here. So here's our source. What does it do with source? We say we make a derivation and I don't know what this syntax is. I don't know how that works. In the install phase, we're going to say run hook pre-install. Target is going to be out. How do we derive out? Where does that come from? One second, Jet. I have to do something for Justine real quick. Okay, it's what it produces. Okay, so let's full screen this here and see if we can figure out what's going on. Let's see here. So this, we get library standard env RTP path to Vim plugin as input. And then we have a recursive block. We make something called, we make a function called addRTP, which takes a derivation. I assume that's a function call. I don't know what the / syntax is. Let's go see if ChatGPT can help us. I'm going to ask you some questions about Nix, the language, and specifically about this file. Please. Okay. I think that, hey, Nudes, there's a good Ziglings CLI tool, like Rust has Rustlings. Might want to check that out. Yeah, I'm paying for ChatGPT 4. Although I'm real close to dropping it and trying something else because it's been pretty shitty recently. So it seems like whatever's happening here is probably wrong. We're probably going to have to go another level deep. Okay, so this is good. So what is happening here? God damn it, GitHub. I never want a freaking modal when I'm in here. Not once have I ever... In this block, what is the / syntax? Okay, so add RTP unions the derivation attributes. Okay, god damn it, GitHub. So we probably want to go look at how RTP path works into Vim plugin, because what's happening here is that run hook, pre-install, target out, RTPP. We might just need to provide some of these extra things here. I just don't know which spot it goes in. So let's go up a directory, and there should be more utils in here. Maybe in here. Where does toVim plugin come from? I don't understand where these come from. RTP path and toVim plugin. What includes that?
RTP path is a dot. Generates a path folder as expected by Vim. Examples: my package, nixstore/packdir. So that would be Vim fugitive packdir. Is this really going to be it? I think it has something to do with this. Thank you for the follow, Bass and Sass. Super appreciate you. So Nick's profile is not even a thing here. Nick's profile. Okay, that is a thing. Sure. Yeah. That's fine. Sure. Okay. Good Lord. I don't know. I gotta mess around with this when I get back. I gotta do some cleaning before I leave for my dentist appointment, y'all. We'll be back streaming tomorrow morning around 7 a.m. And at some point tomorrow on stream, we'll be pair programming with our good friend Leo Stera and working on making some progress on our Mint T rewrite. And let's find somebody to raid. See here, who we got? We got Nate going. We got Cherie. Short stream. Where is our category at? Let's raid Nate, and I'm sure he'll take us somewhere good when he's done. All right, y'all. Thank you for all the new follows. Super appreciate you. Go show Nate some love. He's great. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.